Guys, good morning from Norman, Oklahoma. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. Electric scene in Ames. Electric day of college basketball coming. We start with Tennessee and Oklahoma playing for the first time since the Stone Age. Their first meeting is SEC rivals. The Volunteers ranked fourth in the Gauntlets. Doesn't get any less ridiculous tonight as Steven Anderson tips it up with Byron Jarrett and Kip Kissinger. The Volunteers wearing the road black control first here at Norman. Just the second meeting ever between these teams, and the first since 1968. Tennessee won that game 55-49. I'm sure Rick Barnes would love that score. Igor Milicic has the first shot, and off a 21-point performance, the transfer from Charlotte opens the scoring for Tennessee. Starting five for Oklahoma: Bryson Godine, Duke Miles, and Fears. Great shooters at the guards. Jalen Moore, one of the SEC's leading scorers, and Sam Godwin. It's an Oklahoma team that will go 10 deep. Your 400 Porter Moser trying to get to the tournament for the first time, and they start with a three from Jemai Mashak, outstanding defender, and here's Felix Okpara, whose shot is short and grabbed by Jalen Moore.
I think it's great when Ziegler gets into the lane, but if he gives up his dribble, that's going to be tough to pass out.
Fears, the freshman, first shot attempt, banks it in. Oh, with 7 to shoot. This Oklahoma team is just dynamite from three, and they get a good look inside, which Godwin flattens against the front of the rim.
You know, part of the reason why he missed that is he didn't expect to get such a look out.
Okpara up top from Ziegler.
He did a good night
there for the first half, but lost 98-70. And more misses as Oklahoma now gets the number 4 team in the country in the midst of 5 straight ranked opponents. Corner three for Chaz Lanier, one of the quickest releases in the country, and he puts Tennessee back on top.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the shot, the release, or anything. That's a failure in terms of a scouting report. You've got to know where he is at all times. He's the last person you give up an open look to.
You think the guy who's 4th in the country and made threes, you might want to lock down. Here's Miles driving on the left side. This one will not be missed by the super senior Godwin.
Get off the bounce and get where he wants to go and put pressure on the defense with the dribble.
Jordan Gainey and Kate Phillips have come off the bench for Tennessee. Here is Phillips laying it up and in. Off the bounce, Ziegler created.
That's what it is. I mean, look, so many guys create a hard closeout. He's got to make some threes first to get the hard closeout, but he doesn't even need a hard closeout to beat his man. That's a superpower.
And a takeaway for Ziegler, one of the best defenders in the country. Sets up the drive for Lanier, who's got an early 5. And Tennessee is lighting it up.
For Ziegler, transition opportunity. These guys got to be ready if they get into the game.
He's got 4 reserves now. Dayton Forsythe, the freshman, is one of them. Glenn Taylor, Kobe Elvis, and Mohamed Wiggy. Forsythe,
nice.
He's played really well the last couple of games. Young man from right here in the state of Oklahoma, in Dale, where he won 3 state titles. Gainey, jumper is good for Jordan Gainey, an excellent scorer off the bench.
Just watching the defensive end with the group that came on, the communication isn't there, and it's almost as if the game hasn't yet been established. So going to the bench early, sometimes it hurts you at times.
By the way, Zakai Ziegler has 5 assists, and the game's not 5 minutes old. The SEC leader in assists, 7.5 a game. Moore knocks down the 3 for.
So far today, really good, but I think throughout the course of the year, they've realized that they have to score at times, and they've done just that. Having a spacer like Chaz Lanier might be the biggest key, though. Well, Milicic as well.
Ziegler splits a couple of defenders, Taylor and Elvis, and takes it to the rim for 2. Here's Gainey for Tennessee. Maybe a little shuffle, the Oklahoma fans thought. So did Porter Moser. Tennessee's got Darlington Dubar on the floor for the first time, going to work against Northweather, and that little flip shot goes for the Gainey for the Vols.
All right, everybody should watch that defensive possession and just say, look, this is how you scramble with urgency.
Lanier, the ball finds its way to Phillips. Here's Ziegler off the bounce again, inside Taylor for a tough 2. The smallest scholarship volunteer since Ralph Parton in 1980. 5'9" Zakai Ziegler. Gainey turns it over to Taylor. Fears racing down the floor. Boy, the thigh looked good there.
I mean, let's be honest. Like, it's probably okay once it loosens up. Halftime will be a different story. He's got to keep it loose. If it gets hit, that's another one. Also, like, adrenaline, man. This is a battle right now. Your adrenaline picks up. You roll.
Lanier rattles in at 3. Chaz Lanier's second 3 of the game.
But Fears was right there, but he wasn't in a good possession on the offensive end, and you feel like you're in this game. Be careful getting up and down right now with the creatability of the Vols right now.
Lanier drives it on Taylor this time. Another tough finish at the rim, and a timeout Oklahoma. From inside, from outside. Schedule coming off of 5 straight games against top 15 teams. And they went 3-2 in those 5.
Is that a reasonable rate?
I think so. I don't think it was even a rant.
No, it was just a point.
Taylor
it was a
scores
ranty
it.
point. That's what it
A
was.
ranty point. There you go.
Anyway, that's a good bucket to get out of the timeout. It's like a stabilizing bucket. It allows you to get your defense set. Now you can communicate, have a good possession on this end. Just been a challenge to start.
Tennessee 11 for 13, 18 points in the paint. The other 2 Lanier threes. He'll lead into a third and drill it.
Good Lord.
SEC play as Moore misses inside. Player development that he had there at North Florida, the rapid development he's had here physically, mentally in his year at Tennessee. Once again, they do it in Tennessee. Dubar will take a 3.
Jeez.
He'll score it. Well, Darlin Stone Dubar had made just 10 threes on the season. Tennessee has hit 7 straight.
We talk about player development, but we don't talk about people development enough. Good response by Miles. People are developed successful in the game. Bouncing around is a challenge. You stay someplace, you figure out how to win at this level, you can compete anywhere.
Meshack drops it off. Lanier, Gainey, 3. It's good. 8 straight makes for Tennessee.
That's what coaches spend like 4 years of your life trying to convince you, and you finally get it, right?
Ziegler, Rick Barnes will tell you, one of those kids who got it a lot quicker than most.
Yes,
as he is fouled on his way in, and will get those first free throws.
But also the value of doing those things really well. Like, it's hard closeout. Ziegler got that early. So it's like having, I'll have an analogy for it by the end of the day.
Inside, there's a feed for Milicic. Tennessee.
Nobody runs that great of out of bounds underneath stuff.
Uh-oh, Lanier has space. His first miss will be cleaned up promptly by Okpara. So you finally get Tennessee to miss one from the field.
It's on the switch, and he's not going to get on the bottom side to take that roll away.
8 straight for Tennessee, which is now doubling Oklahoma up.
Telling you, I think you really have to rethink switching against Tennessee.
Moore, left-handed layup will go. That snaps a scoring drought for the Long Island New Yorker. SEC Defensive Player of the Year a season ago, could be first team all-conference this year. Great back cut, and Lanier couldn't finish. Saves it to Ziegler for 3, and it's good. 6 for 7 start from deep on Wednesday.
I think there's this thought like, you know, oh, well, we made shots so we were good. It's like, yeah, but what shots did you get? You know, when you score a lot of points, what shots do you get? Like, and how did you get those shots? Did you create rhythm into the shot? Good cut.
Godine gets it from Fears. First bucket for Bryson Godine, the 6-year on this possession. Ziegler splits through the double. Ziegler back out for Milicic. And he's fouled on a 3. That is Tennessee basketball in a nutshell.
Oklahoma was good in that possession. They were really good until like the 3-second mark. The communication was good. Now you did allow Ziegler to split. You've got to be there. I mean, you got to start doing the whole UConn women's conversation where it's like, it's not even fun anymore because they're so good.
Oh, it's happening. It's being done.
Grow up and be better.
Moore lays it in. Jalen Moore's got 7 to lead OU.
Porter Moser said he's got to be good. That is the halftime. If you're Oklahoma, you got to rethink how we're going to attack and kind of break the second half down in ways we can kind of climb back into this. Tennessee's been able to do it, climb back into games.
Fears driving it. Moore all alone. One of the best looks Oklahoma's had in the half will not go.
Build on a clappable miss, though, Ken. Yeah. You got a great look, just didn't get it to go. They have position players, and they understand the advantage they have based on the matchup they get when you switch. They know exactly where the advantage is. They've played to it. That's why they've shot such a high percentage.
25 first half points for the Sooners. They'll start the second half by getting to the free throw line.
Something to that, right? A guy like Chaz Lanier doesn't come in with all the accolades. Yeah, he scored, but looks like you can make a high percentage of. Continue to break guys down off the bounce. They've done that by you can build upon and then start to get the shots that you want, pick apart, figure out what you're going to get through the defense. But it can't just be get back in this game. It's got to have a deeper focus.
Lanier.
Because then there's that.
Screen by Okpara. Corner three, Lanier. You just expect it to go in when it leaves his hands at this point. 3.5 threes per game, fourth in the country. He's hit 3 today. Gedine, another dynamite three. You saying I shouldn't get excited?
They already think we're biased.
There's a steal for Ziegler, and he'll finish.
That's where you just wonder if Fear's leg is limiting him. But
Ziegler with 10 and 7. Milicic had the last foul, by the way, his first. Miles driving. Too strong. Godwin couldn't tip it, but he draws a foul.
Put the ball over the top. If you're throwing it into the post, right, like a high-low, turn it over.
Two Fears. To state the absolute obvious, boy, Oklahoma could use a basket here. Gotten a little bit closer. Fears, and he does this so well. He gets to the line so frequently. Okpara has picked up 3 fouls in the first 3. Shooter Fears. It's the first of 2. Tonight, PPV. Loaded Sports Day. We get so much higher profile losses in the tournament. But the ceiling continues to be raised on this program. And this could be the first ever #1 seed in Tennessee basketball's men's basketball history. Great find by
awesome.
Milicic. He hits Lanier, who's got 7.
Or go up against Missouri and run up and down the floor and score one of the best offensive teams in the country. That versatility makes you dangerous, but they also have the stability of established roles and positions. And I think that makes the modern teams today have to adjust to them. Like everybody's switching down the floor. They can defend and grind it out and play revolutionary.
Ziegler goes 1 for 2.
It doesn't make you perfect, by the way. Look at that.
There's 3 by Gedine. Ziegler. Little screener roll with Phillips. The lob and the finish. Cade Phillips delivers on the 8th assist for.
Had a wide open dunk. Everybody saw it too. I'll stick with you for a little bit.
Ziegler tried to thread it through to Phillips, who then bear hugs Gedine for the foul. He's got a block shot in 7 straight games. 1-1 now for OU.
They're not as mobile as Phillips is. Phillips really gets up and down the floor, and then you saw Duke defensively is disruptive in so many ways. Do they go for a ton of steals, or do they kind of coax you into them by closing a lot of gaps with their length?
Ziegler gets the switch on McGee here. He'll shoot over him, and he'll hit a 3.
That was like a.
I just want the transcript to be read back to me cleanly.
Just reading.
Anyway, the answer will be yes. Thank you for participating in my made-up exercise. Fears elbow jumper is good. Just his 3rd make of the day.
I think he's obviously been limited, and you got to give him credit for fighting. Because you go back to what Porter Moser said to us before the game, which was, look, this is a really tough game to be at 50%. And he's absolutely right. So you learn a little about yourself, and coach learns, your team learns a lot about you for fighting through it.
Lanier.
So pretty.
Well, players, Lanier will shoot it again. That's offline. Well schooled. His dad Thomas was a 1,200-point scorer at Lipscomb. His mom Stacy played at Alcorn State. As Gedine will get to the line where Oklahoma scored most of its points. Today on ESPN, the pace end. Here's your big 3. Former Oklahoma Sooner Austin Reed.
So I'm there for the soap opera.
It'll be relentlessly entertaining, whatever happens. Ziegler, great find, and Lanier's got another 20.
Day to day, your prep is different. You almost have to be a different team on certain nights because you can't really control the way the game's played.
Has anybody had a harder week in the country than preparing for a trip to Auburn and then a game against Tennessee in the same week?
It's absurd.
Ziegler spins in another 3. Here's Meshack, gonna have to be him, and it is. First points of the game for their defensive ace, Jahmai. Loved what our colleague Dame Bradshaw said a week ago. He said facing Jahmai is like going to an escape room. You're locked up and you're not getting out until you call for help.
Is he your help?
Milicic, Okpara, my goodness. Big to big lob, timeout, Porter Moser. In the air, by the way.
I have not gotten a call game there. That place seems epic.
Auburn?
Particularly, yeah, the jungle. Like when they're that good and they're that fun, like that place seems out of this world to leave it up to their conference tournament. Now the challenge is the conference is that good. So I understand the situation that they're in.
Forsythe took a spill there. He'll be helped up with under. There's one new Big 12 team, Arizona. It's had a great. They did beat Iowa State. Yep,
yeah,
on the road.
They really did. Great win.
1%.
Is that 18 or is that a missed shot?
I'm not sure. Waiting for the official stats, but then what would you think? I would think missed shot. Taylor with the layup.
I mean, the ball was like at the back corner of the.
I don't know if that's going to be a block or what. He just threw it right on Okpara's face.
You block it with your face, does it count?
To quote the great Rob Riggle from The Hangover, in the face. Okpara in the face of what remained.
You know, but this is sheer dominance, and I think that's, if you want to be a one seed, you need to see more of these, even though you're doing it against a very good team in Oklahoma.
Jacob Fredson Cole, first action of the game, buries the three. Well, how about this? Oklahoma's won to 2 fast break points in the whole game.
Yeah,
Lanier will miss a 3.
A big part of that is the shooting percentage for Tennessee. When you make a high percentage of shots, you don't have a lot of transition opportunities, and a lot of their turnovers have been dead ball turnovers.
Dead ball ones. Into McGee, and he will dunk it. And that will be window dressing
the guy
the
next
final
to me,
score.
He just says, "Where's that been?"
Rick Barnes wins again. All he does is win. 826 in his career, and Tennessee wins game number 20 again. The Volunteers continue to rubber stamp a resume that is looking more and more like a 1 seed and a legit title contender by the day.